What you're seeing the left do is they will use the power of the state to advance their agenda. And you see that with the Colorado Supreme Court.
We don't need to have judges making these decisions. We need voters to make these decisions.
I do not believe Donald Trump should be prevented from being president of the United States by any court. I think he should be prevented from being president of the United States by the voters of this country.
It is a fascinating dynamic to monitor here on what we call this program, Earth One, observing Republican candidates for president who so clearly stand to gain from diminished Donald Trump, begrudgingly come to his defense in the matter of the Colorado Supreme Court's decision to strike his name on the ballot. It's a familiar contradiction in the modern political era, an impossible balancing act, whereby Trump's rivals seek to criticize, but just not too much, lest they upset his supporters or perhaps the man himself. Adding to that tension today, too, is the curious idea that perhaps that decision in Colorado helps Donald Trump's political standing. It is no secret his career in public service blossomed from perceived grievance and victimhood. Joining our conversation, former chief spokesperson for Vice President Harris and my future co-host, Symone Sanders Townsend. Michael is also back with us. Symone, you know presidential campaigns better than anybody. What's happening here?
These are not presidential campaigns that are currently being run. This is not a campaign. This is not a primary campaign, because in primary campaigns, as the chairman very well knows, in primary campaigns, there is at least some form of competition. There are folks willing to compete. And what we have seen time and time again, except from a little bit of Governor Haley, she has been critical of Donald Trump from the beginning as it relates to what he's done with the deficit, right? She's called him out by name from the very beginning of this process. And obviously Governor Christie and Governor Asa Hutchinson been very critical and calling a spade, if you will, when it comes to Donald Trump's conduct. There have been very few people who are willing to compete here. I just think they didn't have to, none of the candidates today or yesterday needed to come out and say, yes, I agree with what the Colorado Supreme Court did. But what they could have come out and said is, look, we need to let the Supreme Court decide. Why weigh in and defend him? This is still a competition, or is it?
Well, one of the things I think you know well, though, is that this is a pattern of behavior. In Trump's second impeachment, there were 7 Republicans who voted to convict Richard Burr, Bill Cassidy, Susan Collins, Murkowski, Mitt Romney, Ben Sasse, Pat Toomey. More than half are either out of office or not running for re-election. I just wonder about the permission structure that has grown up around him.
Look, I think a number of when you go back to that second impeachment, again, we're talking about post-January 6th, post-insurrection, where it is still feeling very fresh for all of the members. There was a prevailing thought here in Washington, especially on Capitol Hill. Mitch McConnell told us what the prevailing thoughts were, was that this was not necessarily the vehicle to blunt Donald Trump's ascension any further. He's lost re-election. I think there was an idea that he would just go away. And what we've seen is he has refused to go away. And he has only grown stronger and more defiant to the point where he is now telling us that he will be a dictator on day one. And people are laughing it off. So I think that this thing about a permission structure, again, if there's strength in numbers, if you will. And so what if every single member of the Republican member of the United States Senate stood up and said, the conduct that we have seen from Donald Trump, the rhetoric, we believe is not okay, we condemn it, and we demand more. If every single member of the United States Senate stood up and did that, perhaps there would be a change. If every single candidate that was running for president on the Republican Party ticket right now stood up and stood in solidarity on one particular issue against Donald Trump, there could be a change. But people don't want to stand up. They don't want to take a chance. They don't want to take a risk. And that's why none of those people that repeatedly stand on the debate stage will be president.
Well, and on top of that, Michael, I wonder what you make of the fact that you have Republicans making this argument that this is government overreach. Does that land with Republican voters?
Oh, sure it does. Yeah, it absolutely does. It's ironic that it didn't land with them when George Bush's case was before the Supreme Court and that president was decided by a court. They were very okay with that. And Democrats were apoplectic. And so now we have almost a situation where Democrats are very concerned about the court, what the court's decision is going to be, and Republicans are like, hey, we're good. So it speaks to how the court has been for some time in the last 20 years a volleyball back and forth, a political volleyball back and forth between the two parties. And I know for a fact that is the one place that the Chief Justice Roberts does not want the court to be, which is why I think he will be working and counseling inside of the chamber very, very closely on how this case is handled. But in terms of the broader political narrative, there are no incentives to do anything more than what's already been done. I appreciate Simone's, idea of Republicans going out and en masse and saying, we hereby condemn. You can imagine, that moment when Republicans decide to go down to the White House and confront Richard Nixon. Well, these aren't that Republicans, and that's just not where their head is. And so they're more afraid of the screaming and shouting from a very angry base that already does not want them in the positions they're in, that they would now be primaried and along with other things going at them. So, the sky is falling for them the moment they start screaming the truth about Trump. And you see that in Chris Christie, even with the rhetoric that he's put out. 60% of Republicans polled say they don't like him and wouldn't want him anywhere near the White House.
Well, Michael, so let me put this a different way, because David Frum had an article in The Atlantic today. He makes the argument this is a golden opportunity for anti-Trump Republicans. Quote, the U.S. Supreme Court now has the opportunity to offer Republicans an exit from their Trump predicament in time to let some non-insurrectionist candidate win the Republican nomination and contest the presidency. The Colorado court has invited the U.S. political system away from authoritarian disaster back to normal politics, back to a race where the Biden-Harris ticket faces more or less normal opponents, rather than an ex-president who openly yearns to be a dictator. Until now, Trump supporters have been protecting Biden from his own weaknesses by insisting on nominating an even weaker alternative. If upheld by the Supreme Court, the Colorado court decision might yet save the GOP from itself. Will the GOP consent to be rescued? Michael, I got about a minute left. I want to know if you buy it.
I love David's argument and support his argument and would advocate for that argument. But that argument would be like, telling a child that they can't have chocolate any longer. It's just like, no, I'm sorry, you can't have any. The behavior is not going to align with the argument. They refuse to get what he's saying, because their interests are beyond this idea of putting forth a candidate that could actually go on and compete against Donald Trump, against Joe Biden in a way that would secure the idea of the party as a governing party. So no, I just think it falls on deaf ears. But it's important to say it. And that's the critical thing in all of this. Important to lay down the markers, Alicia, within and outside of the Republican Party about this moment in time, because it's going to be relevant in the future.